Now, when Khabib is critical of anything, I generally take notice because the guy doesn't talk a lot. He's one of those guys that does not talk a lot, so when he does talk, you listen. Lots of people like that. If you know they're smart, but they don't talk very much, when they do, you really want to pay attention. And he was talking about here that the matchmaking makes no sense for the Gaethje and Max Holloway BMF fight. And I'm going to tell you right now, it might make perfect sense, just not in the way that you would think. Because he says it makes no sense, and it messes up the lightweight title picture. Well, it depends on what your goal is with the lightweight title picture. Keep that in mind for a second, and then I'm going to show you what he said. We'll go through kind of the lightweight title picture and then talk about the big X factor that maybe people are not understanding is still going to be like the biggest focus for the UFC. And spoiler, he's coming from Ireland, if you can't figure out where that is going. And also, I already recorded this video. Towards the end, I had this really strong epiphany about what's going on with Khabib as he rejected you. Like literally, I filmed this video, and then as I was finishing it, it got released that Khabib rejected the title fight for UFC 300. The headline for UFC 300. So I recorded that after, and then after recording all of it, I just literally had this thing dawn on me, and I had already uploaded this video, and I'm going to go put it at the end. And it has to do with Khabib's father, and Islam Makhachev. And it's literally the last part of this video. So anyway, I'm going to just go throw that on at the end and enjoy, because I think it's a profound epiphany related to Khabib's motivations. If you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and subscribe and ring the bell, and then like this video. If this ends up in members only, then just disregard. I love you guys more than anything. All right, so Khabib does not understand what the UFC is doing. UFC 300 will take place in Las Vegas. One of the most anticipated bouts of the evening will be the BMF title between lightweight contender Justin Gaethje and former featherweight champion Max Holloway. Gaethje was presumed to be the next challenger for the lightweight champion Islam Makhachev. And so what Khabib says is all respect for Max Holloway, but I don't know. I just don't understand why UFC make this fight. Justin Gaethje versus Max Holloway. It makes no sense in my opinion. My opinion, Holloway is supposed to fight with Ilia Topuria next, maybe September. Justin Gaethje is supposed to fight with Islam in May or June. And Sarukian versus Oliveira, they fight in April. Whoever wins this is supposed to fight the winner of Islam versus Justin Gaethje. At the end of the year in Abu Dhabi, I think this makes more sense. Nurmagomedov is not alone in this thinking, and some fans wondered what the bookings would mean for Makhachev versus Topuria claiming the featherweight title further complicates things. Now Topuria will fight who if Holloway loses? Okay, so he said, I don't understand what UFC has planned, but Islam is ready to fight with anybody. All right, so here's the deal, dude. And by the way, if I haven't said this on this video yet, Jake Paul is going to murk this guy Borland, dude. Murk Boland. I watched that guy's highlights, and I'm telling you, dude, there is no scenario where that guy beats Jake Paul. None. Jake Paul is going to starch him. Okay? Starch him. That guy does not have knockout power. He telegraphs his punches. He's one of those guys that you look at, and if I just saw him sparring, I'd be like, there is no scenario where this guy wins a title. Like, this guy is not going to win a title ever. Jake is going to put his jaw in the fifth row. Anyway, okay. I actually bet, I bet more than I normally do on anything on Jake Paul to win by knockout in the first 2 rounds. Anyway, sorry, derail that. Like I said, I think this is going in members only, so, whatever. So, okay, so here's what I think is going on. Or I'm going to hypothesize what might be going on here, because that's true. Like, what he said is completely accurate, okay? Like, completely accurate. You know what? Let me hide this so that I can surprise you. Because here is the X factor that I think that people are not considering, what could be going on that could be driving this? You know what I mean? Like, what could be driving this weird matchmaking? How about this guy? How about this guy? Because the thing is the reason that they're having these delays with Conor now is because they're in a contract dispute. They're negotiating a contract. And it's 2 parties where neither of them has any urgency. I mean, the UFC wants to get Conor back, but Conor has so much money there is no urgency for him to sign. And so he's holding out. The UFC's negotiating. I would imagine the two sides are not talking to each other every day, because why would they? You know what I mean? Like, why would they be talking every day? Actually, I'll tell you exactly why they would. Like, the UFC is not going to be talking to them, because the UFC needs to present a unified front in that, like, we don't care if he comes back, man. What he's asking for is unreasonable. Like, we're not going to meet it. This negotiation only gets serious when Conor McGregor is creeping up on his sunset clause. Simple as that. That is when this is going to become a very serious conversation. It will not happen before that. It seems like, because, they probably have to pay Conor so much to retain him that it just sucks all of the profit out of any event that he's in, And that sucks for the UFC. And you could say, like, oh, that doesn't seem reasonable. Why should they have to pay all the money to Conor? Well, that's simple. Because Conor can get more than that on his own. You know what I mean? Like, it's just it's as simple as that. If Conor gets out of his contract, the Saudis will pay him $150 million to fight over there. That is just that will happen. Conor will get a 9-figure payday from the Saudis if he gets out of his UFC contract. That's good. That will happen, period. Because the money to them is not the thing. Like, these guys, money is not a factor for the Saudi royal family. They are trillionaires. Like, seriously, these guys have absolutely endless money. If you do good by these guys, they will kick somebody a 6-figure check as a thank you, like it's nothing. Like the same way that I would tip a guy who got my car. If you do business in an honorable way with them, that's the kind of money that we're talking about over there. And to get Conor, they will pay whatever. Now let's watch this too, because this just dropped that Khabib turned down UFC 300. Let's see what happened here.
Khabib Nurmagomedov reveals that the UFC did try to get him on UFC 300. Khabib says they contacted his manager Ali Abdelaziz. Speaking to MMA Junkie, Khabib said, "I know they connected with Ali, but I told Ali maybe 1 year ago, I said it doesn't matter who calls you, but never call me about a fight. We have a deal, directly with me. Nobody connects. But I know with Ali, he connected with some people from the UFC. But I told everyone already once, and I told a lot of times for all these people that try to bring me back. I decided this in October 2020. It was my last fight, and I will never change this."
Wow. Okay. Well, that changes things. That is that right there is the end of my hope that Khabib is coming back. Literally, like, that for the first time now, I'm like, okay, he's really not coming back. Because now October 2020, so it's been over 3 years, and they offered me UFC 300, and he says, I said October 2020 I would not come back. I will never change this. The guy is God, man. Khabib is such an impressive dude, man. As disappointing, hearing that news, as disappointing as that is for me as a fan and a person, it is just wildly impressive when you look at Khabib. The guy is to me, and I obviously know he's not like a perfect person. No one's perfect. But in terms of the things that I value and wish that I was better at, I look at Khabib as like the model of behavior. Now, obviously, I don't know what he's doing behind closed doors. He could be very different than he presents. But the viewpoint of him being so principled and so, man, somebody just took one of the most vicious knockouts I've ever seen in UFC right there. I'm watching UFC as I'm recording this. That flying knee was bananas. That might be one of the greatest highlight knee KOs of all time. That was absolutely insane. That's probably going to win knockout of the year. Wow. That is unbelievable. Anyway, but yeah, like I said, I will just reiterate Khabib's principles and the kind of Spartan lifestyle that he seems to lead, where it's like family, training, and then he gave it all up, man. Think about that, dude. Khabib was one of the biggest stars in the world. one of the biggest stars in the world, had the world by the balls. He came into that fight without his father. I mean, every time I really think about that fight, I almost cry. You know, he lost his father in July. He has a fight in October. Almost anyone would have been totally, you know, well, he or anyone else would have been totally understood to pull out of that fight. And he trained, kept his head down, did it anyway. And then he just walked Justin Gaethje down like that. He just walked down Justin Gaethje. It's just so bananas, dude. It's just unbelievable. And then says, I'm not going to fight without my father. And then he never even considered coming back. That is just like, I don't know. What's the right way to put this, dude? At the end of your life, you're going to get to look back and be like, what did I stand for? Like, what did I stand for? What did I think was important? And how did I behave against those principles? I said loyalty is important. I said loyalty and family are the most important things. But I went out and I cheated on my wife 1,000 times. Or I, didn't take my kids to jiu-jitsu because I felt like doing other things when I knew they had incredible potential. Those are that is what keeps me taking Giselle to jiu-jitsu as much as I feel guilty that I don't bring her every day. If I take her 4 days a week, I'm like, man, am I doing her a disservice? Only because when she started, she was going 6. I really struggle with that right now. Taking her 4 days a week doesn't feel like enough. It feels like I'm slacking off. But that's because I actually for real think about Khabib all the time. Specifically in that case about whether his dad ever let him skip practice because his dad wanted to do something else. And I don't do that often, but every once in a while, I will not take her to practice because of something having to do with me. And that just eats me alive with guilt afterwards. I mean, I did it this morning actually. And so I'm actually, I'm vomiting guilt right now. And it's like, there are decisions that you can't undo. You know what I mean? Because success in life is never comes down to a decision. I mean, you can go back and say, oh, this was a big moment. I decided to go this way. Man, thank God I made that decision. Absolutely, you can. But when it comes to the big success, getting to the big success, that never comes on the back of one decision ever. It comes on the back of the decisions you make every single day and then compounding those decisions. But when it comes to something like this, where you make a big decision and you say it to the world, it's like, I'm not going to fight without my father. I promised my mother this, and that's never going to change. Well, every single day, you still are making a decision. You're making a decision to stick to the thing that you said. That might seem like one big decision, and that is one big decision. But the decision to not get lured back into it is a decision he makes every single day. I mean, you're telling me that Khabib doesn't like the idea of going in and fighting. I mean, who knows? I don't know. Not everybody loves going in and actually fighting. GSP famously hated it. And I totally understand that. I mean, when I was doing kickboxing and stuff, I would do smokers and all that. And I don't know, I would just get myself so fired up. I would just be like, but I wouldn't say I was excited to fight. I wasn't like, yay, I get to fight. I'd be excited to spar. But the actual event, it just felt so heavy. I was like, I'd get myself up for it and do it. And jiu-jitsu tournaments, same thing. I'll get myself up. But the day of, every single time, I'm like, why did I do this, dude? This is why did I do this? I don't know why I did this. And then afterwards, I'm always I'm fucking very happy that I did it. But the thought of doing a full training camp and then doing that in front of the entire world, if I wasn't 100% all in, I mean, I can understand how guys can walk away when they're, when they've gotten to the levels that they have, assuming that it wasn't just a total pure love of the sport that got them there. In Conor's case, I Conor's not Khabib. If Khabib, in a very candid, open conversation was listen, dude, I did not enjoy fighting ever. Like, that was not a thing that I enjoyed. It's something that I excelled in because I wanted to succeed for my father. And then, once he was gone and I had achieved everything, I just didn't feel the motivation to do it anymore. That would make total sense to me. But like Conor, no. Conor loves it. And that's very evident, especially if you've watched Notorious. Like, he loves it. It's my favorite documentary ever. Conor McGregor Notorious. I've said it a million times. I will say it until I'm blue in the face. If you have not watched Notorious, even if you if you think you hate Conor McGregor, it's even better to watch it because you won't afterwards. No one could. You can't. If you're a fan of the sport, you can't hate Conor afterwards because that journey that was captured, he's on welfare at the beginning of the documentary and he's fighting Mayweather at the end. He captured it all. And it's like that what's captured in that documentary is the only time that the full picture of the dream has been achieved and documented. Like, that story that's in that documentary is what every single fighter is fighting for. And almost none of them get there, Like, well, actually, up until now, no one has gotten there. They've become champion, but no one's gotten to the level that Conor did. But everyone wants to. That's their best case scenario. And you actually get to see it. Like, you get to watch it and you get to go on the journey with him. Sorry, I'm watching Fight Night as we speak. Now, as advertised at the beginning of this video, I feel like I had a pretty strong epiphany after recording this entire video about Khabib's motivation. So I talked about how he's not coming back. He decided that he's not coming back. And as I just, hypothesized about why he is not coming back related to whether he loves fighting, doesn't love fighting, whatever, but he's such a principled guy. You know what I think? I think he directly told us one of the big reasons that he's not coming back. And that is that he's in the same weight class as Islam Makhachev. His father's dream. I always feel so ridiculous talking about this because it's like one of those things that's so important internally to that group and family, and speculating about it almost feels absurd. But his father had publicly said that the ultimate validation of his training would be if Khabib retired undefeated as the champion and then Islam Makhachev became the champion and then also retired without having lost the title. And so you think about that, and it's like, think about what it means to Khabib to be able to support that end game as much as he can. And maybe he feels like it's already accomplished because he did retire undefeated and then Islam Makhachev won the title and has not, Volkanovski gave him a tough run, but he obviously avenged that regardless of whether it was a short notice fight or not. But I don't think that there's a small chance, I think there's a big chance that that one of the reasons he will not even consider coming back is because he's always said, it's Islam time now. Now it's Islam's time. And him coming back, he knows that would potentially, take attention off of Islam and put it back on him. And he's got, he probably doesn't want to move up weight classes. He wants to fight at the same weight class, and they're on the same team. Now it's Islam's time. So it might also have to do with the fact that he doesn't want to derail his teammate, his brother for all intents and purposes, and what his father's vision was for the future of their team, which again reiterates how big of a stud this guy has been. Anyway, if you can't tell, people sticking to their word means a lot to me. Eric Anders in on a double leg and almost taking it to the ground. Maybe I should go live right now. Anyway, but I don't know. I just love that documentary, and I have an immense amount of respect for Khabib. Now, Chandler, I have an absolutely enormous amount of respect for him too. It's also possible that just that is also what they're doing. Like, maybe they don't think it'd be the worst thing if the title picture at lightweight got messed up, and then because Chandler is a massive star also, and if he beats Conor, they can definitely give him a title shot for sure. But anyway, God, I cannot believe that walk-off flying knee knockout. That was so gangster. Man, these guys are throwing leather. Oh, that's it, son. Damn, Anders just got clipped heavy. Oh, he recovered. Now he's trying to snatch an arm. Omoplata. Nope, he just got his guard passed, and now he's in a front headlock. Oh, he's still got in on the legs, man. He's a good grappler, dude. Anyway, all right, I'm going to sign off. That's enough of this. I love you guys. Subscribe to the channel. Ring the bell. Bye.